Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, September 28th, 2016 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The Planning and Zoning Commission is a citizen advisory group to the City Council. We are charged with making recommendations concerning land use plans, planning process, and/or matters of plan implementation. All regular meetings of the Planning and Zoning are quasi-judicial in nature and are recorded for record retention and minute transcription. The meeting will go as follows. Well, there was a agenda clarification meeting at 6 p.m. in the conference room. The following is the agenda. Disclosure of conflict of interest and ex parte communication, and the roll will be called at that time. And then the approval of minutes from the June 8th and July 13th, 2016 meetings, and then a public hearing for the urban service boundary expansion east of Satterfield Drive and Chubbuck Road, East Chubbuck Road. With that, I'll ask Aislinn to call roll.
Jack Brennan.
Hi, I'm Jack Brennan. I live in the Johnny Creek area. I have nothing else to report.
Bill Hancock. I live on the West Bench area, and I have nothing else to report.
Ryan Satterfield.
Ryan Satterfield from the Highland area. Nothing to report.
Matthew Tubby.
I'm Matt Tubby. I represent the Highland area. I have nothing else to report.
Ryan Loveland.
I'm Ryan Loveland from the Alameda area, and I have nothing else to report. And who's excused or absent today?
Oh, tonight we have Kathleen Lewis and Steve Long that are excused.
Thank you, Aislinn. And would anybody like to motion on the minutes or discuss?
I move that we approve the minutes from June 8th and July 13th.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion was made by Brennan and seconded by Satterfield.
Brennan.
Yes?
Hancock.
Yes.
Loveland.
Yes.
Satterfield.
Yes.
Tubby.
Yes.
All right, and then it passes. With that, we will move into the public hearing section. Staff has a report first. Terry.
Good evening. I'm Terry New, Assistant Planner. The request you have before you may seem a little familiar. In 2015, the City and County renegotiated the area of city impact down to where it matched the urban service boundary, except in just a few specific locations. We also reduced the urban service boundary in some areas. We are now requesting to expand the USB approximately 4,220 acres to the north and east of Satterfield Drive and East Chubbuck Road, and add a land use designation on the comprehensive planned land use map of mixed use. The USB is essentially a line around the city showing where growth is likely to occur beyond current city development and will be served by city services, specifically meaning that the urbanized area will be developed and urban services such as water, sewer, and streets would be installed. The area would likely be annexed in urban development, such as new subdivisions, apartments, office buildings, and commercial development would occur. Before annexation can occur, the area of city impact agreement will need to be renegotiated with the county. As you can see in the memo from Mike Jaglowski, the Public Works Director, the city can serve up to 1,000 homes or equivalent demand with existing infrastructure. However, any more than that, improvements will be required, which are typically the financial responsibility of the developer. The improvements could include new water sources, water storage, booster pump stations, sewer lift stations, and additional employees to operate these. Additional equipment that could be required is 2 solid waste sanitation trucks, 2 10 cubic yard dump trucks with snow removal equipment, and employees to operate the equipment. Notice was published in the Idaho State Journal on September 13, 2016 in accordance with Idaho State Code 67-6509. Notice was provided to all political subdivisions and the direct manager of our municipal airport. One letter in support was received from Devin Hillam, the Bannock County Planning Director, and that was included in your packet. This concludes my presentation, but I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Terry. All right, with that, we will open the public hearing. We will not designate a time for pro or con, just due to the limited numbers. So if you would like to come and speak on behalf of this issue, the urban service boundary, you are welcome to have 3 minutes. Please state your name and where your address.
That's an item 3.
Yes.
It's Mike Seibert, 1665 Pocatello Creek Road. And I was looking at that urban service boundary, and for the past few years, we've been kind of playing a yo-yo with it. One time was extended clear out there into the Johnson's property and several miles farther, then it's pulled back, now it's going back. But I think we have a reason for expanding it at this time due to developments going on. I think we do have master plans within that proposed boundary that shows what is planned. I mean, the Satterfields has a pretty good master plan, and the new developments in there have master plans set up. And we do know what type of facilities are being proposed in what geographical areas. And looking at the proposed designation of mixed use, I think it really ought to be more of identification of the uses as proposed on the master plans. Because mixed use, this is a pretty large area, just say mixed use. And you can come in and pretty well do what you can support. And if you think that's appropriate to do it that way, well, I'll just make the rest of the city mixed use and do it in that fashion. But that's kind of one extreme to the other. But anyway, so I think maybe I ought to look a little more at the usage designation and make it more in line with the proposals going on. Also, we have an area to just the west of the armory and stuff in there that's part of the city of Chubbuck, and they will never be able to develop that area due to the cost to get sewer facilities into that area. And I really think we ought to be negotiating with the city of Chubbuck to abandon their city limits area right there, and we ought to take in the area west of the Fairgrounds Road there and include it into the area of impact. And I don't know if there's anything that will prevent you from including area of impact into another city limits that can't be developed by that city due to the obstacles, but I think maybe we ought to look at that also.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, and I think to address some of his concerns, in this map that we're looking at, the yellow area is what the proposed urban service boundary expansion is, which isn't necessarily a zoning of any sorts or an annexation, and so it's not like it's being dedicated to a particular use. At this point, that would occur at the annexation point if it does get annexed. So that's my understanding. I don't know if
Matt, could you step up for a minute and let's just talk about that.
Should we officially close the hearing?
Matthew Lewis, Plan Division Manager.
I think Ryan has a good understanding of it, and it's my understanding that if the city annexed this, then it would fall under the city annexation plan, and the usages would be determined at that point for specific developments. Is that correct?
Yeah. And there's not any master plan. There's not any master plans that have been approved or anything of that nature. There have been some that have been floating out there, if you will, but my guess is that if this property were to ever, any of this area that we're proposing to be built on and expanded, that it would probably fall within a master plan of some sort, and that would have to go through, a process and what have you. But when and if it is annexed into the city, it'll be given a zoning designation under the comp plan map, it's just saying mixed use, which is residential, professional, commercial, that type of thing, which really makes the best sense.
So that's kind of just the starting point.
Yeah.
And in order to get this done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll have to renegotiate and typically annexation is one of those that is a request of a specific application from the developer, property owners, and so forth for annexation. And what we decided in talking with the county is that we'll deal with a renegotiated area city impact at that time, because a lot of developers, and Ryan's familiar with this, where sometimes you just want to annex what you really need. You don't want to annex, all these acreages and be taxed on them and so forth. So area city impact will be renegotiated at that time. And the only reason for area city impact is for annexation. The urban service boundary is one of those where it's just a decision of the city to have that, and the question is, can it be served if it were to be developed into? And talking with our public works director, yes, and that's outlined in your memo to a certain point.
Does anybody know about this piece that Mr. Seibert's talking about that's west of the fairgrounds? Has that ever been brought up with the city of Chubbuck?
I think I'm a little bit familiar with it. It would simply have to be something that would need to be negotiated with the city of Chubbuck, and then as far as an area city impact, whose area city impact is that going to be in? And that's, again, a renegotiation with Bannock County as to, do we include that in with Hotel, or do we include it in with Chubbuck? And so that's something that we would need to just have some direction on to go out and do that. So.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's all the questions I have.
Is there any question? All right. If we have limited numbers, we'll allow you to come back up here.
Mike Seibert, 1665 Pocatello Creek Road. The area west of Fairgrounds is in the city of Chubbuck city limits, and they would have to de-annex it. But I don't know what would happen if we overlapped their city limits and said it's in our impact because we can serve them, you can't.
Are you aware of any, whoever owns the land, property owner, have
Guys
any?
Hart owns it, and trying to think of the guy. Hart and
I think they
J&D Limited.
the real
partnership,
driver on that.
Okay. And the reason I mentioned the mixed use is part of the staff recommendations. It says they recommend amending the USB and modifying the comprehensive plan to mixed use. But I guess we're not doing a comprehensive plan here. It'll be done at another time.
We are doing it here.
Thank you.
We are doing the comprehensive plan land use map because that takes in the USB. The reason why we're doing mixed use is because it is a good overall fit right now, because we don't have a master plan. We don't know what is proposed. And when we get further down the road and we get that, then we'll be able to adjust the comp plan land use map at that point to fit more of what they want. So that's why we've chosen that.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in the hearing? All right. With that, I will officially close the public hearing and entertain discussion and motions among the council.
I'll just say that from my perspective, and And looking at it, hearing it tonight and what the city provided, I think they certainly have complied with the Idaho Code, the relevant statute, and what they're trying to do here. And I think they've also done a very nice job of dealing with the objectives of the comprehensive plan. And I appreciate what I've observed of the city departments talking together, what they need, and I think it's really in line with what's trying to be accomplished here. And so I don't have any concerns, I guess, talking as a group. I don't know if others do.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move that we recommend approval to the City Council to expand the USB and amend the comprehensive plan land use map with mixed-use designation per staff recommendations, and to have Vice Chair Loveland sign the findings of fact.
I'd second that motion.
So Satterfield motioned and Hancock seconded. You got that?
Brennan?
Yes?
Hancock?
Yes.
Loveland?
Yes.
Satterfield?
Yes.
Tubman?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries and or passes. And with that, we will close the meeting. Thank you.